I want to remind you that while we are all here, the PNP continues happily along, mashing up the country. And we must never forget that, because that is what everything else that we say is all about. The mismanagement of the country by the People's National Party government. We mustn't forget that. Just this week, the Minister of Finance called a press conference and is bragging about passing the first IMF test. First of all, passing the first test is always the easiest test to pass. That's the first thing. But secondly, if my mother was alive, she would have said, you see me dying trial here. How come the government can be bragging that they passed the IMF test, but since they became government, in 6 consecutive quarters, every quarter, starting in March of 2012, ending in June of 2013, 6 consecutive quarters of no growth in the economy. Yet them brag say them pass IMF test. Since they have come to power, the unemployment rate has moved by almost 3 percentage points from over 13% under Labour Party government to over 16% under the People's National Party government. So, people can't get no work, but Peter Phillips a brag about him pass IMF test. Then, they say that to June, they are behind in expenditure. That means them say they save $5 billion in expenditure. That is to say, money they should have spent, but they have not spent it. Go ask the Jamaica Defense Force. They can't pay the bills to feed the soldiers. Go ask the prison services. All across the government services, they are now billions of dollars in arrears for payments, for food, for services. All across the public service, monies are owed under the GEEP program, under the Jamaica Development Infrastructure Program. They have not paid a lot of contractors. They owe the contractors hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. In my constituency, work done in December and January, December last year and January of this year. Only now them getting a little promise of getting the balance of money that is owed to them. So you say you passed the IMF test, but there's no employment, there is no growth, and you're not paying the bills. And people are, some of them are actually losing their businesses, whether they are contractors on roads or they are supplying, buy food from small farmers across Jamaica, supply it to the various institutions in Kingston, and can't collect the money from the government. None of these things is being done, but you brag that you pass the IMF test. The question is going to be, you might pass the IMF test, but have you passed the people's test? You passed the IMF test, but you passed me and your test? That's a serious business.